Hey everyone, and welcome to BrickVault. I'm Keith, and today we're going to be looking at a collection of every LEGO Star Wars Protocol Droid ever made. This video has been requested by quite a few of you guys, and in total we have in front of us 17 separate Protocol Droids. And this does in fact make up the entire Protocol Droid collection. About half of the main figures in this collection are entirely comprised of different C-3POs, and in fact we have a very detailed and thorough video separate from this that goes over each and every one of those C-3PO figures. So I'm going to go in chronological order now on which figures were released when, how much they're worth today, and also what sets they were released in. So just to be clear, I'm taking specific detail and attention to all of the Protocol Droids with the exception of C-3PO. But without any further ado, let's just jump in. First droid up, from 2007, we have K-3PO. And it first appeared in the set Hoth Rebel Base, number 7666. He was first seen in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, where he served as a tactician for Rebel forces in the Battle of Hoth, and had been destroyed when Echo Base came under fire. Looking closer at his detailing, we can see that he has some nice printing all around his torso section, both on the front and back. We also have a multi-cylindrical feature in the center of its torso, which gives the appearance of looking like an eye, but really I think it's supposed to give a 3D effect of looking like an indentation. And on the backside we can see some gray printing where they've created some shadowing effect. This same shadowing effect can be seen on the front of K-3PO, but not as well. I also like the pair of these red dots in the top right section of his torso, which reminds me of a pair of sensors. Brand new, this guy runs pretty high at roughly $25 a pop. Next up, we have a model from 2008 who was a standard Protocol Droid, but later it was revealed, or rather he was identified as being RA7 at a San Diego Comic-Con display in 2014, but he was first released in the Death Star set number 10188. The printing all around him is pretty basic, but still looks nice with the light gray or white that they've used for shadowing details, and we can see a cylindrical shape in the center of his torso. Typically the RA7 series is known for having a very bug-like appearance, but for this Mayfig we can see that he has the same standard Protocol Droid mold for his head. Because of this standard mold for its head, it doesn't really capture the look or feel of the RA7 Protocol Droid, in my opinion. Instead, it appears that it looks like an average Protocol Droid. In new condition, this guy is going to go for roughly $21. And here we are coming up on a 2014 Mayfig, the RA7 Protocol Droid. It first came out in the Jedi Scout Fighter, number 75051. Here we begin to see new detailing which distinguishes RA7 from the other Protocol Droids. All over we can see that RA7 is colored in a standard gray, but there's also some nice metallic detailing, which adds to the whole scratched, shiny metallic surface that RA7 had in Episode 4. The mold for RA7's head is quite nice and gives that insect-like appearance that he's known for, and I do really appreciate that they made a new mold for it, rather than going with the typical Protocol Droid mold for the head, like the black Protocol Droid that was later identified as being an RA7 series. We can also see on the front and back portions of his torso the exposed waistline in between the sheer metal plates, and there are also a few exposed loose wires. Out of all the Protocol Droids that LEGO has released so far, he's definitely one of my favorites, just simply because of this entire unique appearance that he has. Now his price is pretty surprising to me considering that he has the unique head mold, but currently he runs for roughly $6. Now let's move on to our next Protocol Droid, Threepio. He's a 2011 minifig and he first came out in the Hoth Echo Base set, number 7879. Threepio was actually seen in Episode 5, although he was only seen briefly hanging around in the background of the movie. Threepio's role for the rebellion was to keep an eye out for Imperial spies before Echo Base was captured by the Empire. Later he was seen in the LEGO Star Wars video game The Force Awakens, where the First Order had captured and reprogrammed him as their own Protocol Droid. Looking all around at Threepio's detailing, the red mold looks very nice. It definitely gives the appearance of being quite striking, but overall the printing on the front chest and back of his chest are relatively the same as past Protocol Droids. We can see the light use of black to create shading on the front and back portions of his torso, as well as that cylindrical shape in the center of his chest. But even though his printing is practically the same as past Protocol Droids, in my opinion, that distinctive red molding characterizes him separately from other Protocol Droids. I just think it looks really nice. Threepio's pricing today isn't too bad. It's currently running at about $8, and this is of course in new condition. Our next master of Protocol is TC4 She came out in 2012 in a May the 4th promo polybag, which came free with a purchase of $75 or more. She was also seen in Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, where she served as a Protocol Droid for the Trade Federation on their flagship. When we look closer at the detailing, we can see that they've changed the overall printing of Protocol Droids. We now see some really nice exposed wire on the front portion of the chest as well as the back. We can also see some better defined torso features, such as this smaller cylinder which looks a little bit more 3D. This is also a rare instance in which we see the eye sockets of a Protocol Droid being colored. Overall, we can see that it is a chrome minifigure with the exception of its hands that are printed in a light gray. It's a very nice minifig when you take into account the high level of detailing that went into this, as well as the all chrome mold, with the exception of the hands. Price-wise, TC14 is pretty expensive at about $31 a fig. Moving on to our next Protocol Droid, we have another TC series, a TC4, and he was released back in 2014. This fig first came out in a promo polybag as a Hong Kong Toys R Us exclusive. His first movie appearance was in Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, where he served as Senator Palpatine's Protocol Droid. Although this mold color is technically dark red, it looks more like a rust color. And funny enough, this dark red color mold is exactly the same as the new Resistance C-3PO where he has the new left arm. Upon closer inspection, we can see these highlights of silver, which add more depth to this minifig. The exposed wiring found on the front and back sections of his torso are really great, and we begin to see some very nice printing on the legs as well. And near TC4's head, we can see that his eye sockets have been colored. Another small detail which I almost missed was near his mouthpiece, where we can see the slightest highlight of silver. If I'm not mistaken, this accent is entirely unique from all the rest of the Protocol Droids, including C-3PO. And in fact, all of this silver highlighting that we can find on the front and back of TC4 looks to be exclusive to just this minifig, at least as far as Protocol Droids are concerned. I don't know why, but to me in particular, anything red for these Protocol Droids just seems to stick out a little more, making TC4 one of my all-time favorites. And because of his exclusivity, TC4 does not come cheap at about $21 a minifig. And now here we are with the 2016 updated K-3PO minifig. He came out in the Ultimate Collector set Assault on Hoth, number 75098. Once again, this is the same K-3PO whose memory banks were full of battle tactics that aided the rebellion in defending Echo Base. Looking at this updated K-3PO, I really enjoy the higher level of detailing found throughout this minifig. We can still see the same iconic double red dots to the top right portion of his torso, and rather than the accents being just limited to some simple shading in a cylindrical shape in the center of his torso, we can see better defined chest features. You might not notice that at first, but looking at his waistline from the front and back portions of his torso, we can still see some exposed wiring, although it is in light gray, so it can be kind of difficult to see. But it still is there. K-3PO still has that cylindrical shape, although not as big, and it looks much better being the smaller shape that it is currently. We can also see some very nice printing on the front of his legs. Another nice update to K-3PO is near his head, where we can see that the eye sockets have been colored yellow. All in all, I really appreciate the amount of detailing that went to update K-3PO, and I feel that it better captures his look and feel from the original movie. And simply because this K-3PO came out in an Ultimate Collector set, he's running pretty high at about $30 a minifig. Now K-3PO's price might go down seeing as how he came out in a new 2016 set, but currently that's roughly what the prices for him are. Up next for Protocol Droids, we have a standard Protocol Droid, and this was released in the 2016 Advent Calendar, number 75146. Unless he can be identified later as being a specific kind of Protocol Droid, right now he's pretty standard. Now I could be mistaken, but this Protocol Droid appears like he was printed in Darkstone Gray, which gives him that really nice classic Android look. But when seen in good lighting, he gives the appearance of being in a non-chrome silver. We can see the same high level of detailing that can be found on these more modern Protocol Droids, such as the center cylindrical shape that adds a 3D effect, and the exposed wiring found on the front and back portions of the torso. He also has some nice, albeit difficult to see, front printing on his legs, and colored eye sockets near the head. But upon closer inspection of the exposed wiring, I've just now realized that all of these Protocol Droids have slightly different exposed wiring. So in other words, if we were to take two separate Protocol Droids, two very different minifigs, and look at their exposed wiring on the front and back, we would notice that on one side, one of them may be tangled, while the other minifigs would be straight. This makes each different modern Protocol Droid minifig unique in their own right, but this particular Protocol Droid is quite cheap at only $8 a minifig. And now here we are in 2016 with our last minifig being the new Protocol Droid from the brand new Death Star set number 75159. But looking closely, we can see that it bears a striking resemblance to the older RA7 minifig that we saw earlier. I think it's safe to say that this minifig is also an RA7 Protocol Droid. And when we look all around it, we can see that both the front and back portions of the torso are very well printed, as well as the front of the legs. One small bit of detailing that I appreciated were these silver lines that they used to accent the chest features. At first glance, looking at the lines that create some of this great detailing, I mistakenly thought that they were printed in a very nice gray, but upon closer inspection, I saw that they were overlapped with lines of silver. Now this coloration was very subtle compared to the silver that we can see on the exposed wiring on the front and back portions of his torso. But even with all of this excellent new detailing, my favorite still has to be that mold that they use for his head. I don't know, but to me, it looks like something very sinister like what the Empire would have for their Protocol Droids. Unfortunately, because this minifigure is so brand new, we don't have prices for it yet. But just looking at the cost and popularity of this brand new Death Star set, I'm gonna say that the price for this minifig is gonna run probably high. So that just about covers the entire collection. Of course, excluding C-3PO. But don't worry too long because we've made an entirely different video altogether for him. And while we're talking about additional videos, you can also watch our brand new Death Star video, where you can see the brand new RA-7 or Protocol Droid along with the rest of the droids of the Death Star. But for now, let's just look at the general progression of Protocol Droids through the years. Overall, I gotta say that the looks of these droids has not become dated in the least. In fact, relatively speaking, these droids look like they go really nice together. Right off the top of my head, I really can't think of any Protocol droids that LEGO missed making. But if there's a favorite Protocol droid of yours that you feel that LEGO has left out, let us know in the comments below. Alright, so that's it for this video, and as always, if you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe below. And if you have any ideas for future collection videos that you would like to see, whether it's Star Wars or any other LEGO series that you can think of, let us know in the comments below. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.